Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going Bollywood.
Ooh, fun.
We're diving into Darr, a 1993 film that's, a total cult classic.
That's one of those movies that really gets under your skin.
It is, and it's way more than just your average thriller, right?
Right.
So, okay, for anyone who hasn't seen it.
If you haven't seen it, pause this, go watch it.
Seriously.
Oh, man.
Okay, imagine a classic love triangle, right? Tyrion, our leading lady, she's fallen for Sunil, who's a naval officer.
So far, so Bollywood.
Exactly. And then a Rahul shows up.
And that's where things take a turn.
A hard turn.
Because Rahul's feelings for Kiran, they're not exactly, how do I put this, conventional. Our research actually describes his love as an obsession, even...
intense.
Yeah, dangerous and violent.
Wow, and this is the film that made Shah Rukh Khan a superstar.
I know, right?
Great.
Talk about range. He's not the typical hero here. He's more like, I don't know, the anti-hero.
That's a good way to put it, and he owns it.
He does. One of the articles we read even called his performance chilling, but also tragic, which is kind of amazing when you think about it.
See, chilling, that's the perfect word, because that line, you know the one, I love you, KK Kiran?
So good.
I mean, chills every time.
It became such a huge thing. Everyone was quoting it, but also kind of terrified at the same time.
I can imagine. But okay, so we've got suspense, obsession, all that good stuff. What makes Darr something people are still talking about? What makes it more than just another thriller?
It's got to be the layers, right? You've got the surface level stuff, the chase, the danger, but then underneath it all, it's dealing with some really complex themes like obsession, obviously, and then unrequited love, and even the role of women in Indian society, which, wow, heavy stuff.
So relevant, even today, unfortunately. And one of the articles I read, it pointed out how Darr, even back then, it got people talking about stalking and harassment.
Which is, I mean, it's sad that it's still relevant, you know?
It's true, but it shows how this film, it really resonated with people, and not always in a, lighthearted way.
It definitely got people thinking, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, though, right? Because even with all that, it's still got that classic Bollywood heart.
Oh, totally. We can't forget the music.
Right. I mean, those songs...
iconic.
The Darr soundtrack, I'm pretty sure it's by Shiv Hari. It's amazing.
Yeah, one of the articles mentioned Jadoo Terry Nazar. Like, apparently, it was huge.
Oh, it totally was. Such a good song. And it's not just about, having a catchy tune. The music in this film, it just adds this whole other, I don't know.
Another layer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Romance, tension, even fear. The music just brings it out.
Like its own character, almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but... also, Shah Rukh Khan in this film, talk about intense.
Right. The guy can act. I think this film really solidified him as, a serious actor. He wasn't afraid to play someone dark, someone kind of, messed up.
Totally. And this was early in his career, too. Who knows what kind of roles he'd be stuck with if he hadn't taken that risk.
Totally.
And we can't forget Juhi Chawla. I thought she was incredible.
She was so good, right?
She had this vulnerability, but also strength. I mean, talk about a tough situation.
And Sunny Deol. He was great.
Oh, yeah. He was good. What would you even call it? Like the moral compass? Even if it's a little shaky sometimes.
Definitely.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, the visuals in Darr, I feel like they really stuck with me, even just reading about the film.
Oh, yeah. The way they use like shadows and close-ups, so good.
So effective.
It really gets you inside Rahul's head, which, I mean, not always a comfortable place to be.
Right. Talk about suspense.
It's like those techniques, they weren't just about making the film look cool. They were adding this whole other level to the story,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's like you're right there with them, which is kind of the point, but also super creepy, right?
And effective. But okay, so we've talked about the story, the performances, the technical stuff, but what about the legacy of Darr? This film, it didn't just make a splash, it kind of changed the game for Bollywood, didn't it?
It totally did. Our research, it actually uses the word, redefined. Like it redefined what a Bollywood thriller could be.
Because before Darr, I don't know, you didn't really see those kinds of stories, at least not with this much success.
Right. Like it proved that you could have your romance, your music, all that classic Bollywood stuff, but also dive into some really dark, really intense themes.
And people loved it.
They did. And I think it gave other filmmakers permission to take more risks.
Oh, absolutely. To be a little more daring, a little less, I don't know, predictable.
Yeah, exactly.
And for Shah Rukh Khan, talk about a career-defining role. I mean, he was already doing well, but this film, it really showed his range,
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if he just stuck with those like classic romantic hero roles?
Right. Would he have had the same impact? I'm not so sure.
Me neither. So yeah, Darr, It wasn't just a good movie, it was a turning point, I think, for Shah Rukh Khan's career, but also for Bollywood in general.
Totally. So, for our listener, someone who's maybe about to watch Darr for the first time, what's the one thing you'd tell them to really pay attention to?
Ooh, good question. Okay, I think pay attention to the way the director uses the camera. Like all those close-ups, the shadows. It's not just artsy stuff. It's all very deliberate, and it adds so much to the story.
It really pulls you into Rahul's mind, doesn't it?
In a way, yeah, but also it makes you think about how we see ourselves, how others see us, you know? It's deep.
It is deep. It's amazing to think that a film made in 1993, it can still make you think like that.
Right. That's the power of a good film, I guess. That and a killer soundtrack.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've definitely done our deep dive on this one. Darr, a classic for a reason.
Totally agree. Intense, romantic, and unforgettable. What more could you want?